Good evening. So we will be continuing with the Bhagavad Gita. We are doing chapter 18 and we were speaking about the duties. Now in that Shri Krishna was talking about that these actions or these duties that we perform, they are of three kinds. So where we had ended was the tamasic kind of renunciation. Now, anybody who has this feeling that I don't want to do anything for whatever reason, he can say that I just want to give up everything and run away. I want to become a nomad. I want to go to the Himalayas. But I don't want to do anything because I am not interested. Now, such kind of a duty, such kind of a renunciation is called the tamasic type. And the outcomes are going to be terrible. So now today we are going to begin from verse 8. So let us see. We are doing Bhagavad Gita chapter 18 verse 8. Should anyone give up duties for fear of physical strain, thinking that all actions are verily painful, practicing such rajasic form of renunciation, he does not reap the fruits of renunciation. Now, those who are interested in becoming spiritualist and they have this idea that I want to become a spiritualist, so I will give up work. I will just sit at home and do nothing. Or if there is a certain job to be done, they will say that it's too much of a strain, I can't take this anymore. It's a physical activity or a mental activity, whatever is the activity that is prescribed. It is prescribed in the Vedas, in the Shastras, by the way. So whatever is prescribed in the Vedas, in the Shastras, and those duties that have to be done. Just because you are renouncing and saying that those are very hard, they put a lot of strain on me, then that person who is doing that kind of an action where he says that the action is very painful. Even let us say, for example, you have to do what is called as an upvas, a fasting. And you feel that fasting, I don't think I can do it. Or if you have to serve 500 people a meal. And if you say, this is too much for me, I can't do it alone. Any activity, please understand this, any activity that has come your way. See the words, any activity that has come your way naturally, you have to do it. Even if you are on the path of spiritual. When you are on the path of spiritual, the activity that comes to you, you have to do it and not complain about it. Let us say, for example, you are trying to understand spirituality and you are doing, let us say, certain activities connected with the spiritual world. You have become a spiritualist, all right? You might have joined an ashram or you might be having a guru. Now, when you are following a guru and you have been taking care of your parents or your family, it is not right on your part to give up saying that now I am fed up of all these things. You can't do that. You can't say this is not my job because I have become a spiritualist. No. Because it is very painful. Please understand. Till the time your Gurudev doesn't tell you to completely renounce. You cannot do so. Whatever activities that you are doing, you have to continue to do. Today in the morning, I wrote an update where people normally what they do, they leave everything and go away. At that time I had mentioned that Samartha Ramdas, one of the greatest spiritual masters of all times, also an avatar of Hanumanji, he was the spiritual master of Shivaji Maharaj. Shivaji Maharaj left everything and came to him. But when it was a question of running the country, at that point in time, Samartha Ramdas was very clear. He told Shivaji Maharaj that you have to go and rule the country. It is your Uttaradaitva. It is the responsibility that you have. You are a king of this land and you cannot run away from these responsibilities. Go and rule. Now, if Shivaji Maharaj would have said, I don't want to because it is very tough, that is why I ran away from there, then it would be bad, it would be tamasic. Or if he says just now, me alone handling the whole country, do you know how difficult it is? I have a lot of people in my world who keep on saying these words. They say, you don't understand, Guruji, there are so many issues, how many things I'm supposed to look at. Of course you're supposed to look at. Duties have to be performed, come whatever may. You have to perform your duties. And if you say that I am giving up these things, I'm renouncing them because they are very tough and because it is causing me so much of physical strain and problem in my life, then you fall under the Rajasic kind of renunciation. Now let us see the topmost one. We are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 9. A prescribed duty which is performed simply because it has to be performed. Giving up attachment and fruit, that alone has been recognized as the sattvic form of renunciation. There is a prescribed duty which you have to perform. There should be no end result. You should not be focused on the end result, saying, oh, I am doing this so that I can get that position. No way. You have to do this duty because it is a prescribed duty. It is a duty for duty's sake, and you have to perform it diligently. This kind of a duty which comes your way, which you perform diligently, and that should be done without any attachment. So like I gave the previous example where I said that you might have taken up renunciation, you might have taken up joining a monastery or an ashram or a gurukul or whatever you may call it. You cannot say, I'm going to give up my duties. Duties are a must. You have to perform them. And when you perform your duties diligently, without any attachment of any sort, then you are doing a sattvic kind of a renunciation. And that is the highest. Understood? Now let us try to understand what it means by attachment. The example was, you have taken up renunciation, you have come to an ashram, or maybe you have done something, When you are doing that, you may be looking after your parents before you join that ashram. That is a bound duty. You were supposed to do it. You have to do it, which means taking care of them. It is not necessary that you have to stay with them. Please remember this. You can stay far away and yet take care of them. Are we not doing jobs today, work from home? Are we going to offices? No. So in the same way, you can stay afar and take care of your parents. That kind of a duty. But let us say you are doing it because they are your parents. Then that is because of attachment. I have to take care, what am I to do? No, that you are doing it for the heck of doing it. No, that is not the way. You have to do your duty because it's inborn. It's basically your swadharma. It is prescribed duty, swadharma. And you have to do it. Now, please remember one thing. It is only those who have been freed by their parents, wives, children, husbands, whoever that you are committed to, they have to give you the permission and say, yes, you are free to become a sannyasi, free to join the ashram, free to go ahead and do what you have to, and you don't need to take care of us. They have to say these words. Then you are free from it. The Samartha Ramdas story which I was telling you in the previous verse, in that it so happens that Shivaji Raje's mother comes to Samartha Ramdas and implores of him, saying that, there is nobody to look after the kingdom because my son was a great ruler. The Guru calls the person, Guru calls Shivaji Maharaj and says, you have this kingdom to run. Why are you not doing so? So he says to Samartha Ramdas that I have given up. He says, no, you can't. You have to go and rule this kingdom on my behalf. Go rule. Today, there are lots of these kind of people who have strayed, literally strayed, and gone and joined some ashram, some gurukuls, some monasteries, because they are fed up of life. And whoever is in charge of that place tells them some kind of an activity like yoga and meditation and some other thing. The head of that place doesn't even bother to ask the person, are you taking care of your parents? Are you taking care of your family? How are they going to look after themselves? These people are not even bothered. You can't do that. If you join an ashram or a gurukul or a place where, like a monastery, the head of that place, his job is to ask you this question. How can you give up your duties? What is the thing that is left behind over there? Has anybody taken charge of your duties besides you? It's only when the charge has been taken that they can stay there. Otherwise, not. People have become wastrels. They go to these kind of places, join some silly course, and then they don't bother about their parents. They just roam around over there and they get into all kinds of wrong activities. Instead of focusing on becoming spiritual, they have given up their duties. And here Krishna is saying these words. You have to perform your duties. Swadharma, you have to do them. And they have to be performed. You cannot do just because, oh, why are you forcing me? No. And you have to do it in detachment and without bothering about the fruit. There was one person who came to me 2 years ago. This person had come from an ashram and he was wasting his time trying to find different Babajis, going to this guru, that guru, trying to connect with this one, that one, because he was a lost soul. For 2-3 years, he had not done anything. Prior to that, he had given up his studies. He was studying abroad. He gave up his studies. He gave up everything and joined an ashram, forgetting all the duties that are there. So when he came to my place, I told him it is not necessary to consider me as a guru. There is no need. You don't have to consider me as anything. If you have a guru, you have a guru. It doesn't matter to me. But what I am saying, you got to listen. You have old parents and you have to take care of them. You can't be roaming from place to place, living in somebody's house and just becoming a wastrel. You can't do that. No, I can't do this, What do you mean by you can't do? You have time to play games and do all kinds of nonsensical stuff, and you don't have the ability to take care of them. So I told one of my other devotees, I said, you please give him a job. At least he will take care of his parents. And this person got a job. After getting a job, a very serious thing happened in his life. His parent, one of his parents, got cancer. Now naturally he had to go and take care of them, which was so critical. If he would not have had the job and not given the money, it would have been very bad, isn't it? So he took care of his parent. And in the 1 year of the treatment, the parent became all right. Now think about this. Isn't it important to do your duty? So the person not only became a spiritual person, but also became a sattvic person in renunciation because he was doing his duty. Shri Krishna says in verse 9 from chapter 18, a prescribed duty which is performed simply because it has to be performed, giving up attachment and fruit, that alone has been recognized as sattvic form of renunciation. So I hope you understand. So whoever comes, my job is to tell them, don't worry, spiritual is a subject which can be learned. I can teach you. But you cannot shy away from your duties and run away from responsibilities. No way. Doing your duty is a must. And not because you have to reach some destination, not because there is some fruit attached to it. No way. And not because you are attached to something. Oh, I want money, that's why I am doing it. No. You have to do it with a sense of renunciation and it's your inborn duty. You got to do it. And never bother about the fruit of action. When you do this, then this kind of a renunciation is called the sattvic kind of renunciation. So now let us go ahead. We are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 18 verse 10. He who has neither aversion for action leading to bondage nor attachment to that which is conducive to blessedness imbued with quality of goodness and has all his doubts resolved. He is intelligent and a man of true renunciation. Now, who is a man of true renunciation? Now, everybody cannot be a renunciate. Alright? People try to be a renunciate. They do something like going to an ashram and taking up a job over there. That is not renunciation, sir. If you are not getting a job outside, so you're going and doing a job in an ashram, that is like doing a job. And you may be taking part in the ashram activity, doesn't mean anything. No, it doesn't mean anything. What is a true renunciation? Krishna is giving us an answer. Absolutely perfect kind of renunciation. You should have no aversion for action leading to bondage. Now, aversion to action. Oh, I can't do this, I can't take up this job. I can't do these things. Because if I do this, then I will get trapped in it. A person talks like this. If I do this once, I will get trapped in it. If it is your duty and you are doing it religiously, don't think that you are doing it because it is literally an imposition on you. No, you have to do it with a very clean heart, which means you are doing it out of goodness. And even if the action is leading to bondage, which means what? Let us say you have to take care of your parents. Then it doesn't matter. A young boy who had come to me many years ago, he came and he was with me for a certain amount of time and he was a good student, no doubt about it. Then one day I told him, you know what? You have to get married and settle down now. He was very upset and angry with me. He said, how can you do this to me, Guruji? I told him, no, that is a bound duty. You have to do this. This is a part of your destiny. So he got married. After that, I went to his place. I blessed him. Then he had a son. At that time, I told him, now you have to stop coming. You should not come to me. You be lost in your spiritual world later on. Just now, it is your duty because you have a wife and a child and you owe it to them. When the time is right, I will myself call you. He did not like it. But today he is religiously doing his duty towards his wife, his children. He's got 2 children now. And he is performing his actions quite nicely. Though he doesn't get to meet me or he doesn't even come because now according to him I am his enemy. But I am not his enemy. I will put the person back onto that saddle. Sometimes this thing has to be done. There's a case which is right now going on where a young person is supposed to get married. But to him I told him that even if you get married, you should remain detached. Your duties will happen on their own. But do it with a sense of detachment. And there should be no action which is going to put you in the reverse. When you do your actions with complete detachment, you will go towards blessedness. So this young man, I told him, you get married. You have a lot of other things to do. But don't get completely lost in marriage. Like all the material worldly people, when they get a wife, they get completely lost in that and then they are completely focused on their the marital life, after that having children, then building a house and getting trapped in the material world. Here it is not so. And a person is on the path of renunciation, even if it is retained, like it is mentioned that he has to get married, he should get married. But a person should have complete detachment in that. Though performing all actions diligently, but not getting lost in it and not focusing on the end result, because end result should never be the criteria. So, person who does actions without any aversion and doesn't have fear of getting into bondage, does this action with detached manner, and then he is conducive to blessedness. Then the path of spiritual opens up for him. He has to be imbued with good qualities. You have to have the goodness of heart. You have to be a very good person. And you should have your doubts resolved. From whom? From the spiritual master, because he will guide you on the way. When your doubts are resolved, and when you are an intelligent person, then that is the highest form of renunciation. Now, this is a very tricky world. Let us try to understand it with some other example also. I've given you two examples of two young people. Now, let us take an example of a woman. Maybe she has decided that she wants to be on the path of spiritual. All right? If she has decided to be on the path of spiritual, but she cannot give up her job and her duties, whatever she has to do them diligently. But with complete detachment. There should be no attachment whatsoever. It's a job to be done means it's a job to be done. You have to do it means you have to do it. There are no two ways about it. You have to perform your duties and you have to do them perfectly, but with complete sense of detachment and not with any expectation of any kind. And should never feel aversion for the action, saying that, why should I do this? It's not my job. No, it is your job. And when you do these actions without any aversion, but with a complete goodness of heart, with goodness of heart, it really doesn't matter what the other persons think. It is you who is very important over here. You have to do everything with goodness of heart, without any aversion of any kind, in a completely detached manner, not focused on the end results. Then, using your mind perfectly, taking intelligent decisions, you will find that all your doubts will get resolved. You will be also helped by your spiritual teacher who will resolve all your doubts. And don't worry, they will get resolved. This is the word of Shri Krishna. You do these jobs, all your doubts are going to get cleared. Don't bother about them. Nobody is going to do anything wrong to you. You will be performing all your actions also, and that rest of all the problems will get taken care of. When you do this, all the doubts go away. And if you are an intelligent person, then this whole thing becomes completely a matter of true renunciation. Got it? Right. So now we go to the next verse. We are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 11. Since all actions cannot be given up in their entirety by anyone possessing a body, he alone who renounces the fruit of action is called a man of renunciation. So, who is a man of renunciation? A person who doesn't shun any activity. A person who does all actions that are necessary. See, Any action that you do, it is a necessary action. Let us say you are taking care of your family while you are doing your spiritual. So when you are doing your spiritual sadhana, and the duty is to take care of your parents or your family, you are doing it. Or you have to do a job. You are doing that job as well. But do it with a sense of renunciation. You are not bothered about the end results. What is going to happen tomorrow, you should never be bothered about. You got to do your duty. All actions cannot be given up in entirety by anyone possessing a body. Krishna says these words. He alone who renounces the fruit of action. You have to give up your fruit of action. I am doing this because I will have a better family life. No, that's not your call. How your family is going to be, that is not your lookout. Your job is to give them whatever you are doing. Whatever duty you owe to them, you have to do that. Or you have to work for a company, or you have to do a business, you do that. But don't bother about the end results. Don't bother, I am doing this, so I have to make a lot of money. No, don't say those words. How are my children going to study if I am not going to be bothered about money? That is none of your business. Don't bother about the fruits. You are in spiritual, be in spiritual. You have to do your duty. You should do your duty. Krishna says, don't give up duties. Don't become a nincompoop and sit at home and do nothing. This is what I've seen all these youngsters do nowadays. They will do nothing. They will sit at home and or maybe in the ashram or some such place, and they will say, oh, I was doing this sadhana, that sadhana, I was doing this meditation practice, that practice. What nonsense are you talking? It is not prescribed here at all. Only if you have become a renunciate completely, you are wearing orange color clothes and you have been given an initiation by the master, then you can stay in the ashram. Otherwise, don't even bother. So all actions have to be done, but you are not supposed to be bothered about end results. And when you renounce the fruit of actions, but perform all your duties diligently, then you are called a man of renunciation. Okay. We are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 12. Now we are going to do what is this kind of a renunciation, the different kinds that are there. So, when the actions we have finished so far, so yeah. So, verse 12. Agreeable, disagreeable, and mixed, threefold indeed is the fruit that accrues after death from the action of the unrenouncing. But there is none whatsoever for those who have renounced. Now, this is an important thing which you have to understand if you are in spiritual. So in spiritual, if you are there, that means you are following the path of spirituality. The actions which you are doing, which like I have said, you are not supposed to give them up, you have to do them. Now those who are on the path of spiritual, and if they are doing their actions, either in sattvic guna, rajasic or in tamasic, whichever way, they have a chance of renouncing. Those who have renounced. That means they don't have to come back again. There is a whole load of a chance for them to just finish everything and go away. But let us say a person who is not doing it is completely in the material world, has no clue about spirituality, believes that he is earned his living or he wants to enjoy his life or do whatever that is necessary. Maybe I have been working for 58 years now, till the age of 58 or 60. Now I am going to become a retired person and I'm going to stay at home and not do anything. That person who is not on the path of spiritual, he will have fruits which are going to come to him afterwards, after death. Did you get it? Now let us say this person who is not on path of spiritual, he gets three kinds of fruits. One is the agreeable kind, one is the disagreeable kind, and the third one is the mixture of two. So these threefold fruits accrue to a person after death. We are going to do what are these three fruits. Okay, so don't worry. So these three fruits come their way, and person has not renounced anything. That means he is doing it for the sake, because it's my duty, I got to do it and I am doing it. I'm doing everybody a favor, They believe that they are doing a favor to everyone. So naturally there are going to be fruits which are going to come after that. And these are of three kinds: agreeable, disagreeable, and mixed. But if you have renounced the fruit of action, you have said, no, I am on the path of spiritual, I have renounced everything, I have to do my duty, I have done it. Maybe I have worked till the age of 60. I just want to take up retirement and I just want to be in spiritual. Then that person has a chance of not having any fruits after that. That means there is nothing to come back for. Rest of the people, they have to come back some other life. Got it? They will come in some other life. They will be reborn. So now we are going to get this whole thing down slowly. Let us see what Krishna has to say further. So we are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 18 verse 13. In the branch of learning known as Sankhya, which prescribes means for neutralizing all actions, the five factors have been mentioned as contributory to the accomplishment of all actions. Know them from me, Arjuna. Here Krishna is telling Arjuna, you see, there is a Sankhya Yoga. Have we done Sankhya Yoga? The entire chapters in the beginning, 3-4 of them, were relating only to Sankhya Yoga. Alright? So don't say that you don't know about it. Sankhya Yoga is a path of knowledge, the path which has been prescribed in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. And we are in the last chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, see, there is a branch of learning called the Sankhya. Okay? So in that, for neutralizing all these actions which you do, whether you are on the path of renunciation or whether you are not on the path of renunciation, you have to neutralize those actions. Now, this is the idea of neutralizing is something which I am going to take up on a major scale once I finish all my satsangs. How does a person neutralize the action which he has done? What does it mean? You will find out. You'll wonder, what am I talking about? Well, I will give you the answer. Now I will tell you different examples. Okay? So let us see what these examples are there. You are a married person. And when you are a married person, naturally you are going through this marriage for many years maybe. Just like Mr. Bill Gates and his wife who have been going through their 27 years of marriage, and suddenly today it is decided that they are going to go for a divorce. Something like that. So they have been in a married life. Now in the married life, there is always a question of give and take. You give and you take. Actions. If I am doing the housework, you have to go and work outside. If I am taking care of the children, you have to buy the grocery. If you are doing the work in the kitchen, then I will work in the garage. Those kind of activities which people believe that they have to do something for something. It's a question of give and take. It's a transaction. People do transactions. Now, every time when you do transactions, now you could come to this step of Jeff Bezos, who had to give up his millions, billions rather. A person lives with bitterness after that. Oh, I had to go through the divorce and I had to give up this money. I hate that person. Why? Because billions are going away. Just like they have been earned over so many years of life, and suddenly you find they are having wings and going away. At that point in time, it leaves a bitterness in your mouth, isn't it? Say that, how can I give this much? I worked for it all my life. Yes. Or let us take a case where a woman, they don't have children. She and her husband don't have children, but she adopts about 7, 8 children. And she takes care of these children. The father is also interested in that child, no doubt about it. Okay, all those 8 children. But then a time of divorce comes. It's again a real story I'm telling you about. And at that point in time, the woman says, you are not fit or worthy enough as a father. I'm taking away all the children and going away. And the father gets very upset and angry and says, you know what? This is not the right thing that you're doing, and feels terrible about it. He feels that that woman is doing something wrong. Do you see what I am going up to? I'm leading you to something. Right. You have done karma. Whatever karma that you do, it is going to lead you to further lifetimes. Isn't it? So, if you have, say, given up all the children, but you still have the grudge in you, or if you have divorced and given away your billions to your wife and you're still carrying that grudge against her, or she is carrying a grudge against you, he has got so much, he has not given me anything. Or division of things, there is a problem. This I just gave you marriage issues. Let us talk about parents and the children. The child is attached to the parent, and the child grows up into a young man or a young woman. And the parents keep on threatening that person, saying that you owe it to us, you owe it to us. We have given you education, we have done this for you, we have done that for you. And this young man or young woman are always very angry with their parents, saying that, why do I owe this to you? You have done your duty. Now I want to be independent, I want to do things on my own. And there is a mismatch over here. So both are getting into what is called as a karmic trap. Both the people. The parents also, as well as this child. Now both are getting into karmic trap. Before this I told you about husband and wife. Now I have told you about parents and children. Now let us say you're working for someone and you suddenly give up your work and go away. That person says, how can that person leave? I will sue him. I'll do this. I'll do that. All those kind of things. And there is a lot of bad blood and things going wrong. Both these people are in a karmic debt with each other. The husband is in karmic debt to the wife is in a karmic debt to the husband. The parent is in karmic debt to the child, and the child is in karmic debt to the parent. The person, the owner, is in karmic debt to this servant, and the servant is in karmic debt to the owner. Both are having these karmic debts. How does a person get out of these karmic debts? It is because of these silly karmic debts that a person has, that they have to keep on meeting the same person over and over and over again in lifetimes after lifetimes. Imagine, you hate your wife so much. Now you have divorced her and you thought that is the end of it. But there is always the grudge in both your minds, yours as well as hers. And you don't want to see that person's face again. But don't worry, you have sanctioned yourself karmic debt with her. And she has sanctioned with you because she hates your guts. So in your next life, if you are a husband now and she is a wife, then you are going to change places. And this will go on for 1 lifetime, 2 lifetime, 3 lifetime, 4. How many lifetimes? Don't ask. So you're going to meet the same person again. And this is what Krishna is talking about. What is it that neutralizes these actions? So Krishna is saying, I am going to tell you the secret of neutralizing all these actions. So there are 5 things which he is going to mention. How do you neutralize these actions? All those are contributing towards this accomplishment of all actions. Whatever action that you do, whichever way you do it, all accomplishments to the action. Maybe you are giving money. Maybe you are writing on the divorce paper, signing on the divorce papers. Maybe you are giving, money to your whatever institution that you are talking about. Maybe you're paying alimony. Who knows? Whatever action that you are getting into, it's an action. Now here Krishna says, there are mentioned, in the Sankhya Yoga it is mentioned. He says this learning has come from Sankhya Yoga. So I'm going to tell you, these are the 5 actions that are important. These are contributory, though all this contribution towards your karma. So there are 5 factors which he is mentioning. So you have to know them from me, Arjuna. So let us see what he says. What is it that contributes these 2 actions? One person to the other person to this one. Got it? Or you owing it to the society owes it to you. Whichever way you look at it, how does that work? We are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 14. The following are the factors operating towards accomplishment of actions. Fulfillment of any action. Whatever action that you do, there has to be an accomplishment. How does that accomplishment happen? Alright? The following are the factors operating towards accomplishment of actions, that is, the body and the doer. The organs of different kind and different functions of manifold kinds. And the 5th is Daiva, latencies of past actions. Now you may say, oh, 5 were mentioned. Where is the 5? The body, number 1. The doer, number 2. The organs of different kind, number 3. Different functions, manifold kinds. Whatever functions that are there connected to this, whatever these organs that are there. And the 5th one is Daiva. Daiva means your past actions. You have done some past actions, isn't it? Today you may be a miserable person. You are in a miserable condition because of certain problems in your life. Maybe you don't have money, you don't have a job, you don't have a wife, you don't have a husband, you don't have children, your children are treating you badly. Whichever way you are in, whatever is happening to you, that is happening because of Daiva, which means past actions, the latencies of the past actions, the karmas which are coming back to bite you. Your old karmas, they are coming to bite you. Alright? So let us see this 5. So the first one, what is it that accomplishes the actions? The body. Because you have the body, you can do actions. Isn't that correct? Now, what action do you perform with your body? See, what action do you perform? With your eyes, seeing. With your ears, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, walking. You have the genitalia and you have the evacuation organ. Actions are performed by these things. The action of seeing, action of speech. You are saying some things. You are hearing some things. You are having an action connected to your evacuation organ or your reproductive organ. Are you not doing that? Of course you are doing that. Whatever action that you do with your body, whichever way you do it, whichever way, there are no 2 ways about it. You cannot say, oh, it happened. No, there's nothing like it happened. You are responsible. It's your body, no? Are you not going to take responsibility of your body? You may have done it unknowingly, doesn't matter. It is still your action. Sometimes people do actions unknowingly. They say, oh, I didn't know about it. I was doing this. I thought just like that, It happened. What do you mean by it happened? All actions done by your body, responsibility is with you. These actions performed by the body. Now, whatever action that you do. Now, the second part is critical. Listen to it. And the doer. Who is the doer in you? With your eyes you see and you say something nasty, or you start thinking, oh, I don't want to do this, I will take revenge on this person. With your eyes you are seeing, with your ears you are hearing, saying that, oh, this person is talking ill about me, I will show him. The doership has come there. Do you notice? Or just because you are caught in a act, whatever the act could be, it could be a copulatory act. The one who is doing it and the one to whom it is getting done, both are going to be a part of this doership. Nobody is free from it. You can't say, I don't know anything about it. That's not the criteria. You are participating, even if you are reluctantly participating. See, what do you mean by reluctantly? Sometimes people don't want to do the action, but they are reluctantly or forced into doing an action, isn't it? I can't give examples because it doesn't sound nice, but let me just tell you, the pedophilia. Pedophilia is there. It's a terrible thing to happen, but the doership is there, isn't it? Now the doership lies with both. Whoever is involved in the action, doership lies with both. Both are responsible for the actions. What is the end result? Reversals. This is the terrible thing that happens, and the most critical thing is we have to understand how to get out of it. That is going to be explained later on. Just now, understand how you get into the trap of this death trap, karmic loop. First, organs, the body. Second, doership. You can even do by thinking. Like I said, the person is doing something, you are seeing that person, but you are feeling, I want to show that person. So doership has come into it. The third one is the organs of different kind. You use the organs of different kind. Whatever organ that you use for the action purpose, you may slap a person. That is an action you are doing. So whatever physical action that you do, or even if you're watching porn, are you not doing something wrong? You are watching it. Or if you see somebody is getting trashed and you're not doing anything, you're still watching it. It's an action performed. You're still part of that action. Whether you like it or not, you are part of that action. You may be a voyeur. You're watching someone. Sir, you are performing an action. You have to pay for it. The third one, that is organs of different kind. Different functions of manifold kind. Whatever functions that you do, any function that you do, whatever. You may be a teacher and you may be telling someone something, or you may be a principal, you may be an actor or an actress. Doesn't matter. If you are doing all kinds of functions of whatever kind, like they say the casting couch in the films industry, is very well known factor. Or if you are going on the war and shooting people, or you are planting devices which are going to be incendiary devices. Any action of any kind that you perform, it could be eating something, it could be drinking something, whatever, anything, whatever functions that you do of different kinds, they lead you to karma. And the last one of all, the fifth one, is called daivik. You don't have control over it. You cannot control it. It is called prarabdha karma. You have to do it because it's in your past life you have done something like that. Suppose today you are at a receiving end of the stick. Sir, in your past life you might have done something completely reverse. You might have been the one who was doing it. So this time you have to get it. So these are the 5 kinds of actions that happen. The factors responsible for getting these actions done. Alright, so we will touch on this subject when we open up tomorrow again. But remember, 5 things responsible for putting you on the trap of karma. 5 things. First one is the body. The body. Second one is the doership. You are doing it. Third one is the organs of different kind. Eyes, ears, nose, hands, legs. All kinds of things. Then different functions, whatever functions that are performed. And the fifth one is because of your karma, your past karma, daiva. Whatever the past karmas you have done, this time you are suffering for it. That suffering is there. So these are the 5 things. All right. So I will stop over here and I will see you all tomorrow. I hope tomorrow we have the power. Take care. Have a great evening. Bye.